Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forts Comic News, episode 345. I'm one of your hosts, Chris. Alongside the co-host here, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, nothing much. Just enjoyed Turkey Day and all those lovely savings. Bought a bunch of shit that I didn't need. Actually, I didn't really buy anything this year, so that was good.
I only bought one thing,
That's good.
and it was because it was something really expensive that I needed, and it was half off.
Oh, there you go. That's a good excuse.
Yeah, so
If it's something you need, that's fine. If it's you're just buying a bunch of shit because it's on sale that you never needed in the first place, then it's really not a good idea.
yeah, it was clothes for workout stuff.
Nice.
I'm constantly doing laundry
Yeah.
because I'm going to the gym so much, and I was
Yep.
like, well, get a little extra. They're half off. Fuck it. So it'll
There
be
you
here
go.
today, probably while we're recording.
Hell yeah. Treat yourself. Did I buy anything exciting? I know well, I don't want to give away Christmas presents just in case some people listen to the podcast that I know, but maybe after Christmas I'll talk about them. But we have an interview today, everybody. We got some people stopping by from Invader Comics. We're going to talk about what's going on over there.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, got some interesting books.
We haven't recorded it yet, so I'm not entirely sure who's going to be here, but I was told that Mike Perkins is stopping by, and I haven't talked to Mike in close to 8 years, so I'm really excited.
Wow. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Some stuff has been coming out. We had a new Invincible episode. This is the episode I've been waiting for. It's punchy. So, hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just start right off. I mean, we the third episode, like you said, left off with Mark being reunited with his dad after the whole leaving Earth situation.
Yep.
And then, we get the whole reveal that he has a stepbrother now. That he's on this planet where everybody ages more quickly. But then we have 3 Vulturemites show up and they have to fight them. And he basically tells Mark, like, you can't hold back or you're going to die. And so they beat the shit out of like 3 of them. And that's when you realize, like, you can impale a Vulturemite with a spike and like disembowel him and he'll still be alive.
Not to mention, you can apparently karate chop their stomach open, which is pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, there was a lot of like crazy like Mortal Kombat shit going on. The fight with like the girl with the knife in her ponytail was insane.
Yeah, she was fucking badass, man.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember if that's
cool.
from the comic or not.
I don't know. I don't remember the knife thing, but it's been so long. I have to go back and look.
Yeah, this has got me really excited to do a reread now that I have all the compendiums. I'm gonna be doing that soon, but that was such a cool use of, like, I don't know, I'm sure it's been done before. Like, I don't watch a lot of kung fu stuff. I know you're more into that than I am.
Yeah.
But that's something that I can't think of seeing before, and it was just so well done.
Yeah, it was really good.
And it reminded me of why I'm so glad this is an animated series, not live action, because it was so over the top.
Yeah.
It was great.
The fight scene was the long fight scene between everybody was great. And then we get a glimpse of the general who they beat Mark's dad. They take him back to their planet. And the general's like, okay,
definitely be executed.
Yeah.
100% he's being executed.
He's definitely going to die, everybody. And the general's like, okay, you proved yourself worthy. You can go back to Earth and you just, take over Earth when we want you to, because Mark's totally going to do that.
Yep.
And then I like the side story of the clone guys, because that's how it is in the books too. They always make a reappearance, so that's always fun to see them, and they're always like betraying each other. They're always killing each other off. So
it was that fun moment from the book too, where he's all disfigured and he's like, now for the first time we know exactly who the real one is.
Yeah, he's like, he knows that he's not the clone. He's like he looks like Two-Face. Yeah, it's really enjoyable. It was a great episode. And now again, Mark's left in shambles. The shit beat out of him. And he's got to figure his life out.
Yeah. I've been loving this season. I mean, this episode's another one. It does do more of the fight stuff and like over the top gore, but it's got these great moments throughout too with Mike's mom or Mark's mom, and not Ricker's mom.
Not my mom.
Her coming to terms with Nolan, what he did and their life together and everything, and trying to figure out the path forward. Like that was a great emotional moment. And then I can't remember the dude's name, but the agent who died in the first season.
And he finds out he's a cyborg.
And he finds out that he's either a clone or a cyborg, and he ends up cutting himself to see if he's like what he is.
And
everything. And that was a great moment because not a lot said, but it's directed so well that it hits in the right way. This episode was great. It had everything in it.
They're doing a great job.
I can't recommend this series enough. I mean, it's been so good.
Another show I've been watching that came out on Apple TV, 3 episodes so far, is Monarch: Legacy of Monsters.
Gotta get on this. I'm excited to hear what you guys say.
So if you're a Godzilla fan, you'll really like it. I will say the first couple episodes, they gotta lay a foundation for stuff. You do get to see some monsters. I mean, it is called Legacy of Monsters, so hopefully they show monsters. And so they do show a lot of clips from the Legendary universe, so the Kong movies, I think it was the 2014 Godzilla movie. Basically, we jump between the 1950s. That's Wyatt Russell's playing Kurt Russell as a young guy in the 50s, and then we have Kurt Russell in the present day for them, which is 16 or something. But the age thing is weird because Kurt Russell's not 90 years old, but you'll see how it lines up, but they never really talk about it that much. Basically, we follow the 3 main characters in the 1950s started Monarch. One was an army guy who was a shitty sergeant or army dude that gets sent off on this nobody wanted to do this mission. He's protecting these researchers. It sounds like a boring mission. These researchers start Monarch. When they find Godzilla, they're like, hey, we need the army, the Pentagon's involvement to help us. So by the 3rd episode, they're like, yeah, we'll help you. And then what they do is they set up a nuke to blow up Godzilla when he comes out of the water. And we all know that doesn't work, folks, because we've seen a lot of the guys, but this is their first interaction. So I haven't finished the 3rd episode yet, but I got to that moment where Godzilla emerges from the water, they blow up the nuke, and they're like, yeah, we got him. And I'm like, no, you didn't. But along the way, there's a lot of different monsters they encounter. And in the present day, you're viewing this woman who started Monarch, her granddaughter, and her son has disappeared, and the granddaughter is looking for her father, who left everything around, left all these clues. Monarch is looking for him, is looking for his data. So they're chasing this child around, so she has to get Kurt Russell's help. And Kurt Russell is in this old folks home, but for Monarch individuals are government people. So they go to this old folks home in Japan, and he's there trimming bonsai trees and shit. But then he has an ankle bracelet on. So he's like, yeah, this isn't a normal retirement home. They're keeping me here so I don't talk to anybody for the rest of my life. And then when he finds out that this girl's father's missing, who is almost like a son to him, he's like, all right, well, let's go find him. So they break out, and now they're traveling together to go find the son, or to find her father. So there's a lot of timelines going on, but I think it's really enjoyable. And you do see some interesting monsters, maybe some early monsters that you would eventually see in the Godzilla movies. And I mean, the first episode, it's John Goodman running through the forest with a videotape that he took off Skull Island. So they got John Goodman to do a quick scene in the beginning. So they're bringing people back. It's pretty great.
That's awesome. I want to watch it, but I'm waiting until it's over. To jump into Apple TV Plus, because so many subscriptions.
I know, no, for real, but it is really good. And I have to go see Godzilla -1. That's out in the theaters now. I really got to see that.
I was gonna bring it up. I was told it comes out next Friday, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, It's out. I think it has 100 on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Maybe that's just around me. I mean, because it's like select theaters. It's not like it's a wide. But a friend of mine found a showing of it, and I think we're still we were talking about it over Thanksgiving dinner, and we haven't confirmed back and forth yet. But I think I'm going to be going to see it next Friday. So
yeah, I might try to go next weekend. I'll see. But yeah, I highly recommend Legacy of Monsters for any Godzilla fans. Movie news, Chris. The DC animator released its first trailer for Crisis on Infinite Earths. And here we go. Coming 2024.
Yeah, so I'm watching this, and the first thing I think is, God, I hate this animation.
Yeah, the animation looks awful for sure. I don't know what it is. It looks like a Flash cartoon. Not like Flash, the DC Flash, but like Flash, like Newgrounds.
I mean, it's funny. We're having to judge a trailer here, but like it's similar to, it's a little bit more inky than Invincible, but like it's similar in style.
Yeah.
So I know I can enjoy it, but I miss like old stylized cartoons.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that this is going to be a 3-part movie.
Yeah, official trilogy.
And I've been off the DC animated bandwagon for a while now, and I'm still told they're really good, but I don't know. I just don't know, man. 3 movies over a year.
Yeah.
For a story that I like enough, like I respect enough, but it's just been so overdone in my eyes that it's lost kind of its cachet.
Yeah.
I think the only way to bring like cachet back to it would be to do it in live action, which I'm just not convinced we're ever going to see.
At least for another 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, if anyone's got a chance, it's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it looks fine. I might check it out, but it's not something I'm rushing out to see.
I'll check it out when it hits HBO. That's what I've been doing with all the animated movies.
Yeah, there's a few I still want to go back and watch. I mean, Blue Beetle's still on there, and I still haven't bothered to sit down and watch that. And I legitimately want to. I just, I don't know. Things rewatching old TV shows is apparently more important to me than.
Yeah, I mean, at least you know you're gonna like them.
Yeah, it's tough, but I hope everybody likes it. I hope it's really good, and we'll see. We'll see when time comes what my mood is. That's really what determines whether I watch these things or not anymore.
Yeah,
where am I at that point?
I haven't been excited enough to like go out of my way and pay to watch these animated movies, but in my eyes, I'm paying for Max every month, so that's when it comes out. I'm like, okay, I've already been paying to watch it, so I'll watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even left the house to see Marvels yet, so that should tell you a lot.
I keep forgetting about that. Yeah.
And we'll see. I think next month. Does Aquaman still come out next month?
Yeah, Christmas. Like I believe on Christmas Day, or I think it's Christmas Day.
Yeah, I'm still throwing that one around whether I'm going to go see that or not.
Go with your family, everybody. A nice Christmas treat. Yeah, Jason Momoa on the big screen.
I want my family to talk to me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see with that one too. But
I've actually heard stories of people who went with their, because I believe the first Aquaman came out around the holidays last time. And I remember some friends telling me, yeah, like their grandmother and mother went because they're all like, oh, that's the one with Jason Momoa. Like that literally got the whole family to go. So I'm like, all right, he's bringing grandma to the theater. Yeah.
Well, not to get depressing, but no longer have any grandmothers. But if she was still around, I don't know if I'd want grandma getting all hot and bothered by Jason Momoa next to me. That might be.
When I was a young lad, my grandmother took me to see Passion of the Christ around the holidays. So not the same vibe, Chris. Not the same vibe.
So did you ever end up seeing Oppenheimer?
No, I haven't. That's a movie I just haven't been really too pushed to watch.
Yeah, I get that. I think it was really good, but
yeah,
there's a very long like scene in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
Where it starts off as a sex scene where they, they keep it kind of subtle, but like at the same time, like you see thrusting, you see legs in the air, you know what's going on.
Yeah, it's
and
sex.
then they're just sitting in a chair, and I forget the woman who plays the love interest in it, but she's just sitting there topless the entire time talking. And I went to see this movie with my mother.
It always happens, man. They put one in there just when you go in with your parents.
But dude, if it was like a couple minutes or a quick scene, like fine.
Yeah.
But they lingered on this shot for a while there, and I'm just like, this is fucking awkward. Can we get back to the part where we're nuking Japanese people?
Nolan knew you were going with the fam, so he had to throw that in there. You know?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Good movie if you haven't seen it, everybody.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Heard it's good. Yeah. Superman Legacy has some new casting. We got a bunch of news dropping after the Hollywood strikes have ended. Confirmed Nicholas Hoult set to play Lex Luthor, which walking between worlds because he was Beast.
Yes.
X-Men. But now, I don't know if you've seen anything about Marvels. I don't want to spoil anything for you, so.
He shows up somewhere or something?
Yeah, so Beast, I have seen screenshots at the end of Marvel shows up, but it's Kelsey Grammer Beast.
Oh, yeah.
But he looks like 90s X-Men, like straight from the comics. So I mean I liked Kelsey Grammer's, but I don't know what that means for like the future of X-Men at Marvel, like which casting they're going with for the cinematic universe.
So I'll do my real quick Marvel thing, and then we'll get back to Superman. But
yeah,
I hope they just recast all the X-Men.
Why wouldn't they?
Right? I get it. And if these guys show up for like Secret Wars or something, or they do some multiverse shit in the X-Men, like that's fine. But like the main cast, please don't just bring back the old. Like it's fun, and in some cases it works out. I think. Yeah. As much as I'm not a Deadpool fan, I know how the Deadpool fans are, and Ryan Reynolds is one that should stick around.
Right.
I think outside of that, we got to move forward. We got to move on from these guys. Have them do their cameos and whatnot, but and Kelsey Grammer. I mean, Kelsey Grammer's too old to be an action star at this point. I'm sorry, Kelsey. I love you. Frasier's a great show.
Well, he is in a lab coat, so I don't think he's doing much action. I think he's in the lab most of the time. But
that'd be rough. But Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. To jump back to that, I kind of love this casting.
No, I think it's great. Yeah,
he may not have quite the look, but I do think at this point, I'm fine if we get away from the exact look of the comic character.
I mean, look at Jesse Eisenberg with the long hair, right?
Yeah, and I mean, he was going to lose it eventually and go bald and everything, and he looked fine. And I'm sure this guy would look fine bald too. But even if they keep him like a little bit of a military cut or something, it's more about his presence as Lex. And I would kind of be okay Lex being somebody that's kind of reinvented for a modern audience would be really good. I mean,
that's not Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah. I mean, this is no judgment on any real life person, but like we have plenty of characters in our lives right now that you can base Lex on.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think of Bezos and Musk and, all these billionaires around that, let me just be clear, aren't fucking Lex Luthor, but like you can base the character on them and like do something different with him as opposed to this old like version of him that I still enjoy in the comics, but I think it's great casting.
Yep,
personally.
And then we have others that Chris and I weren't too familiar with, like Skylar Gisondo playing Jimmy Olsen. Got to have Jimmy in a Superman movie. Sarah Sampaio playing Eve Teschmaker, who is Lex Luthor's girlfriend / secretary in the comics universe. So I guess we're getting more of a glimpse into Lex Luthor's life.
Yeah. So when I was going through Skylar's IMDb, like I know him from an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He's kind of been all over the place. He does, other than the fact that he's not a redhead, he's very much a Jimmy Olsen lookalike.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's pretty good casting. Sarah, I think we were talking about. I'm not sure of any of her work.
I haven't seen anything she's in.
She's obviously gorgeous. I mean, that's pretty much all I can say about her.
You're gonna be dating Lex Luthor. Come on.
Yeah, so I guess that works. But I wonder how big of a role that will be.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know,
they're just name dropping shit now.
I think now that they're just excited that they can get news out there about it. They've been in production for this. The strike kind of put a hold on a lot of this. But it's cool to hear more about it. I'm really excited for the start of the new DC extended universe.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy and excited. So let's see it happen. I want to see a trailer.
Yeah, and I've said for like years now to go into a lot of these movies with low expectations, but I'm telling you what, I'm going into Superman Legacy with high expectations.
Everybody is. There's no way you're not. Yeah.
It's James Gunn, man. It's the beginning of the new universe. Like, he has to know where the expectations are and what he has to hit.
Yep.
And I have faith that he can do it. So I think the casting's been really good so far.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty hyped for it. This was pretty great news that hit. Disney's made a big change with Lucasfilm's hierarchy. Dave Filoni is now Chief Creative Officer and will work directly with top brass to craft the future of Star Wars. So not necessarily he's not necessarily doing everything, but he's got his hands involved, like, in the structure of things, I think, right?
Yeah, and I was listening to him talk about it, and he basically said he was coming in a lot of times after things had already been developed.
The decisions had already been made, right?
Yeah, and then kind of crafting around that. So the fact that he's done what he's done in that role makes me even more impressed with the work he's done, because I guess Ahsoka is one of those that, like, they did Mandalorian. He kind of came in, helped at the end.
Right.
And then they decided to bring Ahsoka in. He was able to craft that around the Mandalorian stuff and all this. And to do all that in a structure that somebody else built is impressive.
Right.
And I've said for a while, I think Filoni's the guy, like the Star Wars guy. So personally, I mean, I don't root for people to lose their job, but I think Kathleen Kennedy's proven over and over again that she's not up to the task to run Star Wars. And this might be a last-ditch effort to save her job.
Yep.
I think from the very top down, if they're not listening to Filoni and letting Star Wars ride or die by his word, they're fucking up big time, because the dude's
earned it. He's earned it for sure.
Yeah. And he was Lucas's right-hand man for a long time, and his love for Star Wars is what's kept him there. The dude could be doing whatever he wants, but he decided to stay at Lucas and work on Star Wars. So that says a lot. This got me really excited for some future projects. I hope that after the whole Mandalorian verse is done, he's more in the trenches on like future movies and whatever the new direction is going to be after they wrap all this up. So yeah, this was huge news. I was really excited to read about it.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I'm happy to see that somebody with really good ideas is at the top now.
Definitely.
Comic news.
Comics.
Rocksteady's new game, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, is set to release next year. While we wait, DC has announced a prequel comic coming in February. The comic will go by the name Suicide Squad: Kill Arkham Asylum. It's going to be written by John Layman, art by Jesus Hervis. The comic will tell the story of the team coming together, leading to the events of the game. Sure, I might check it out.
I'm impressed by the creative team.
Yeah, John Layman writing it, and Jesus on the art. I don't understand. Is Harley Quinn wearing Deathstroke colors, or is that just maybe it's just the color scheme of the cover?
I think it might be the color scheme of the cover, because I think in the game she's very red and blue.
Yeah, okay. But cool cover. I like the cover.
Yeah, cool cover. The game looks cool. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I know they released some of the combat from the game, and it was just a bunch of people shooting guns, and I was like, okay, if I get to control the Suicide Squad, I want them to use their powers. I don't want to be shooting guns at people. Or like at least have a specific move set.
I kind of understand, and it must work because they do it all the time. But I kind of understand them doing stuff before the main project comes out. Like we talked about Rebel Moon a little while ago, and like the comic was announced. But this is one of those things that like I would want to play the game.
Yeah.
And then if I love the game, I'll buy the comic.
Right.
Yeah,
it does seem kind of strange.
Yeah, and just where I'm at with my comic reading, like I'm actively trying to cut things off my list. So if you want to get onto my list, you got to be something really special at this point. And I think this will be a cool book. I'd be interested to check it out at some point, but we'll see if it ever reaches the echelon of me actually picking it up.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, like you said, it's got to be something interesting. I think having the name Suicide Squad versus the Arkham Asylum is going to get people to read it for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of Suicide Squad fans out there, and they're going to be excited just to have a Suicide Squad book again.
Yeah.
Even if it is a tie into a video game. But I mean, I like the cast.
I mean, John Layman writing it too is pretty huge.
And yeah, and I was just about to say that. Like Layman jumping on says that there's something, either it pays really well or there's something here that he really is looking forward to. So
this one's gonna definitely be going on my pull list. Titan Comics announced some new Soulsborne stuff. We have a new Dark Souls comic coming titled Dark Souls The Willow King. The series will have 4 issues written by George Mann with art by Man House. Yeah, cool cover. Willow King is obviously a character within the Dark Souls universe. And I like what they do with these little mini series. They had the Bloodborne one that came out. They put into trades. More Dark Souls stuff isn't bad. So I think Dark Souls, the more than the story side of it, the visual storytelling is very interesting to me. So having it in a comic book form where you can like look at some amazing art of some crazy characters and landscapes is always fun for me. So
yeah, I've always said I don't like the Dark Souls games because I'm a noob, but
it's all right.
But the art direction for those games is so fucking good, dude.
It is really good. Yeah.
It makes me want to like them.
Yeah.
That's how good it is.
Yep.
So,
but yeah, I'm pretty excited for this.
Yeah, I won't jump into this.
Yeah.
I knew you would be all about it, though. I'm really excited for those fans because it doesn't seem like there's going to be a Dark Souls game anytime soon.
No.
They've definitely moved on to other things.
Like Elden Ring, and then if we get, more of that stuff. But even an Elden Ring comic, I'd be okay with that, too. So anything that's in those universes.
Yeah. Elden Ring 2 is definitely what's next for them. I mean, there's no way that isn't in development.
Following the comic event, Big Game, Mark Miller discussed that the future of Miller World Comics. He teased a few comics coming the next few years, like Sharky versus Space Bandits and Nemesis. He also said that his comics will remain separate from each other outside of the future crossovers, while saying that he wants Big Game to remain unique, so don't expect a new crossover anytime soon. There was also a very subtle hint that he could be working with DC in the future. Interesting. What would Mark Miller be writing at DC? A Justice League book? Because we don't have one of those right now.
I'm trying to think back on his Marvel stuff, and it was a lot of like Ultimates.
Yeah.
It was where he could be a little edgy because that's what Mark Miller does.
Like a crime syndicate book?
Yeah, or Suicide Squad book.
Oh, Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I'd be interested to see. I mean, who knows if this is him just playing around or whatnot. But
you know what, Chris? He did a bunch of Authority stuff.
That's right. He did do a bunch of Authority stuff.
Yeah, he's gonna come back and do that. I guarantee, because they're talking about the Authority being in the Superman movie, so people need to know who they are again. Yeah, I have a feeling.
And he did Authority before it was DC, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was still Wildstorm Comics when he wrote it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be interesting.
Unless he did some more Red Sun, but I doubt it's going to be that.
He did do Red Sun. So he has worked with DC in the past.
Oh, yeah. He's done All-Star Superman. Was that him? No, that was Grant Morrison. Was it?
Yeah, it was Grant Morrison.
Yeah. I'm thinking of something else. He also did some of the Flash. He did Swamp Thing stuff. He did some Superman Adventures stories.
You know what? It's gonna be Red Sun.
Yeah, you think so?
They're bringing back Elseworlds. They brought back Gotham by Gaslight.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right. I hope it's Red Sun, please.
It's Red Sun. 100%.
The thing is, does he want to go back and do Red Sun? Is the question.
Once again, what's the paycheck look like?
Yeah, true. If they pay him.
I pulled up this quote from his little interview.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, Mike, me and Millar are on the same page.
Okay.
So this is what he said about, is he going to do a bunch of crossover? Like, is everything going to cross over now and all this stuff? He says, no, I think it's important to keep them apart again for the most part, so big games stay special, like you just said.
Yeah.
Think of how Crisis and Secret Wars felt. There is one single possible crossover character later down the line, but I don't want to spoil that. I wanted to bring up the Secret Wars thing because that's what I said about the book when it was done, that it felt like Secret Wars.
Right.
And how it was done. So I just wanted to toot my horn a little bit. But I love that book. Hopefully we're going to talk about issue 5 later. I don't know if you got
I did finish it. Yep. Yeah, I read
okay, so we're going to go deep into that. But one thing when I was reflecting on the book was that I'm not as big of a Millar fan as you are.
Right.
So I haven't read, like, I know you've read almost everything he's done.
Yep.
And I have not. This got me to want to go back and read some of this stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there.
And one of them is that Sharky bounty hunter book, whatever it's called.
Yeah, so it's like his Lobo. It's his Lobo book, pretty much. I forgot I even read that, dude. When they show up in the final issue, I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, so now like that's on my list of need to read because next year we're getting another one, then I can jump on that. He did a phenomenal job with this book. I'm really happy about what he's talking about in the future. I love Nemesis already, so down for that. Yeah.
Yep. Yes,
I think Nemesis. I think he hit a grand slam with this one, and I think a lot more people are feeling the way I am from how I'm talking about it with people, just in real life, that they're just blown away by it.
Yeah, no, he did such a great job. Yeah. It's a perfect segue to jump into the comics we read this week because we could talk about it right now.
Okay, so everybody, we're going to talk about the comics we read this week. We're going to start with full-on spoilers of Big Game number 5.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so right out, like the whole resolve of it, making Kick-Ass the American hero was like the final like icing and cherry top of the ice cream sundae. Was like, because this dude doesn't want to not fight anymore. He's depressed. I mean, he doesn't want to not be a superhero anymore. He's depressed. He wants to go out there and fight crime. He is willing to put his life on the line. So they like make him the Captain America pretty much with these suits of powers.
Yeah, if I can jump in right there.
Yeah.
You never read Ambassador, right?
I'm trying to think what Ambassador was.
That was the one where they found the formula for superpowers and they wanted to have a superhero for every country.
No, I didn't. That was the only one I didn't read. Yeah.
Okay, that was one I read that I really liked.
Yeah.
And one of the funny through lines throughout the book, I think we talked about at the time, but just as a reminder to make that hit even harder, was there was like a joke throughout the book that they could never figure out, like get somebody who could be the superhero for America, because part of it was they had to have a certain approval rating.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the whole joke was like, and Americans can't agree on anything.
That's true. Yeah.
So for him to get it, not only does it go full circle from Kick-Ass, but it goes full circle from that book where they're like, oh yeah, this is the guy.
Yeah.
That moment was great. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a great way to end things. I mean, we pretty much got to see everybody in the issue. Hit Girl decides to rewind everything, and the Magic Order gets involved because the guy from the past who was part of the giant like space colony, and I can't remember the name of that. Starlight. That wasn't the Starlight book, was it? I can't remember the name of that book.
Yeah, I think it was Starlight. The Huck character.
No, there's the guy who's like the big. He's like the big galactic emperor guy. I can't remember the name of that.
I think that's new for this series.
No, that was
the guy that was in the past that came to the future.
Yeah, that was a book. I can't remember the name of the book. It was like a space book that he wrote, and I can't remember the name of it. Empress? I think it was called Empress. If you look up Empress by Mark Millar, that might have been another series. Something like that.
Was that Empress one he did at Marvel?
No. It can't be.
Yeah, he did it at Icon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's where that came from. Like he was that character was like protecting some sort of royalty, and that guy was the father who like rules the galaxy. Yeah, that's a whole nother storyline of characters.
Oh.
Yeah. So like literally all those characters have been done before.
That's all. See, that's the type of shit like that.
Yeah.
I will probably check out Empress now.
Yeah, it was crazy.
If I can find it.
Yeah. I think I have the issues up to look, but yeah, that was another callback, and for him to find out, oh, I don't rule the galaxy anymore. I need to come to that future. But then we're like, oh yeah, magic is involved. This person calls themselves a wizard. They're like, that's close enough, you know. Like, I thought it was a crazy ending where they make you think that Hit Girl gets shot in the head was pretty messed up. But then they're like, oh, by the way, she went back in time, so that was old Hit Girl, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Thanks. You know, that was pretty interesting. But I think the way they ended things and like seeing all the villains die, like Nemesis, the way he died was pretty awesome. Where he's like, why isn't it working? You know, like we should be sapping their powers and it doesn't work.
Well, he's not dead.
Well, yeah, that's true.
He's incapacitated.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. What I got out of this is I would like to see a kick-ass book where he has powers. That's what I would like to see. Unless they do another ambassador series with him or something.
Yeah, I think so. I love the comic book science of like rewinding time, doing that whole thing. That was great. The flipping on its head, great fight scene at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 100% either we're definitely getting an ambassador 2, and it will probably star Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
So and we'll see. I mean, that character is 100% coming back.
Yeah.
There's no way they went all that way and didn't do it.
I hope so.
So this issue from start to finish was just a blast. Like I fucking love this.
It was a lot of fun.
The epilogue made me so happy.
I can't even remember what was in the epilogue.
So everybody might remember a book that Millar did with Greg Capullo called Reborn.
Yeah, yes, the part with Reborn was so good.
Reborn was my favorite Millar book. Is my favorite Millar book.
Yeah,
by far. And when what's his name from Wanted dies,
yeah,
and they're like, and everybody's celebrating, doing the whole thing, and then it goes to the epilogue, and he goes to the world of Reborn, which is where you go after you die. It's like Millar's version of heaven or whatever.
Yeah.
And the chick from Reborn just comes and goes, he doesn't look like a good dude, and cuts his head off and keeps walking.
Yeah.
Grinning from ear to ear, man. Was so awesome. Happy.
Yeah, that was such a great way to send it off. Yeah.
Yeah. I want that book back so bad. Capullo, I know you're going to work for Marvel, but like, please.
Yeah. I don't think we'll get that for a while.
No.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was such a great series.
As a side, did you see Capullo's Instagram post the other day?
No, I didn't.
He was doing a sketch of the Thing.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, he posted the picture of the Thing, his sketch. And he said, officially signed my Marvel exclusive contract today.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So we talked about that exclusive contract a long time ago, but now it's official. And I was just like, is he hinting at some Fantastic Four thing? Because Mike might lose his goddamn mind.
Yeah. If he goes on Fantastic Four, that would be amazing. That would be so much fun for him to do, too. He would probably love that.
Yeah. I really hope he doesn't just end up as an X artist. I mean,
I
know X-Men fans are excited for that, but for me personally, I don't like the X-Men, and I would like to see creatives do something new, not just go back to their greatest hits all the time.
Yeah, that would be nice. But yeah, Big Game 5 was awesome. Miller had this years and years in the making. He did a great job with it. Yeah, I think it was a great event book. That's how you do an event book.
Yeah, I think at least for me, you'll be hearing more about that book come December.
Yeah, for sure. Another book that everybody will be hearing about for me is probably World's Finest. World's Finest 21 came out. Mark Waid, Mora on the art. So we're still in Kingdom Come. We have the Superman and Batman from our Earth fighting with Thunderman. He's not Thunderboy anymore.
He's a Thunder Man now.
Yeah. And I don't really understand. I don't know if this is like the art is poorly drawn or like why Superman doesn't have gray hair anymore. The Kingdom Come Superman.
I think because they're younger.
Is it okay? They're all supposed to be younger. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're at a younger, and like Batman, Superman from Kingdom Come team up, and they're like, yeah, why are you messing with Thunderman? They don't believe the story that they give, and then Gog shows up with all the young heroes and is like, what are you doing? So I thought it was overall a good issue. I'd like to see where this goes now, and instead of just a big fight, like I want to see some more Kingdom Come stuff.
It was a fine issue.
Yeah,
the trope of the two different versions of the superhero coming together and they have to fight. I'm like, okay, I get we had to do it, but
right. But you think like they would listen to reason, right? Like they must, like Superman must know that's another Superman. But I guess Kingdom Come has never been introduced to the multiverse. They mentioned that, right? So which is interesting.
They keep mentioning that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That because that's been the defense from people I've talked to about it. It's like, well, they don't know about the multiverse. I'm like, okay, but
they did the JSA that Kingdom Come series where Kingdom Come Superman comes through to Earth 2.
JSA. Yeah, so my only guess is this is further in the past. But
yeah, so this is really
even then,
back.
like for that to be the like for me, because this issue didn't really do much for me. It's a fine issue. It's not gonna make me quit the series or anything. It's just kind of I'm ready for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to write it like this. Like they could have just skipped this.
Right.
But but the Gog thing was cool. The reveal at the end where Gog's like the ruler.
Yeah.
It definitely makes me want to go back and read Kingdom Come again because it's been a while.
Yeah, me too. Godzilla versus Kong versus Justice League #2. Bucoletto and Deuce on the art. Yes, this was a great issue. You have like different teams fighting different monsters. You have the Batman team is fighting the giant bat monster that's in Gotham, of course. So like they like attach they strap like Black Canary to the hood of the Batwing to like use a sonic scream that was so awesome. And then Superman gets taken down trying to fight Godzilla because it's Godzilla. And then you have this other story of Wonder Woman going to Themyscira to fight the giant like mammoth that's there. And she drops off Green Arrow at Monster Island because Monster Island has appeared out of nowhere. Overall, is a great issue, I think.
Yeah, good issue. I really want to see because it's a Green Arrow trope of like, and he even says it like it's not my first time on a deserted island,
right? Yeah.
And that's a trope with Green Arrow that I like. So for him to be on this particular island with nobody else is gonna be fun.
Yeah, full of giant monsters.
Yeah, I liked everything here. The whole bat fight was fun.
Mm-hmm.
A little disappointed we didn't use like more well-known monsters to go against, but
but
like tiny disappointment in an overall like really good book. So
a giant bat monster was kind of cool though.
Yeah, it was.
I thought,
and that the Jason Todd moment of like, I've got the shot, I'm taking it. Everybody's like, dude, just chill the fuck out.
Dude, just chill. You don't need to shoot before you like figure it out. Yeah.
And then he does it anyways. And they're just like, you know what, let's just knock this dude out and just move on with their lives.
I did love that they knocked Jason Todd out. They're like, come on, dude. You're such a buzzkill.
Yeah. This was, I think I brought it up last time where we wanted more Godzilla in our Godzilla comic.
Yeah.
This was more of what I was wanting out of a Justice League versus Godzilla book. So
yeah, for sure. Really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Superman 8, Williamson, Melnikov on the art. So we get a little more insight to the origin of the chained guy, that he's like a combo genes of like Superboy and Superman. That's why he has like these telekinetic abilities. In this issue, Superman defeats the chained guy because he finds out he needs kryptonite to do so. In defeating him, the kryptonite hurts Superman as well. I mean, obviously. So that's kind of where we leave off. But I think overall it's a good issue. I thought the character was interesting, the chained guy. So interested to see where they go with that.
Yeah, I didn't get around to reading that yet, but
yeah, it was good.
Superman's a good book.
Yep. Green Lantern War Journal #3.
Another one I didn't get around to
Phil
reading.
Kennedy Johnson, Montos in the art. It's a good story. It's keeping this like infection story going. Obviously John Stewart gets infected. He has to take on. He has to fight. I know he doesn't want to fight anymore, but he has to now. There's like a nice moment where he like says goodbye to his mother that he has to go, and he does talk more about like the fact that she has dementia. And then he meets with Kyle Rayner in this like space between constructs, not the real Kyle Rayner, but like a champion, almost like of the green, who like convinces him to fight, like that he needs to fight. It was a really good issue. This is a really cool Green Lantern book, so I'm really enjoying it.
I was given a tiny bit of clarity of what's going on with Green Lantern.
Yeah,
as a whole. That apparently a friend who like is a huge Green Lantern fan and reads all this Green Lantern stuff. He told me that all the Green Lanterns and like all the Green Lanterns of our space sector, and even some that aren't like Kilowog, are trapped on Earth by Oa.
Okay.
And they're all like, because of what happened, are reacting differently. So like Hal still has a ring, but his ring is like more powerful now because of it. Like he can do more stuff with it and all.
Oh, okay.
So I guess some event happened that basically forced them all to stay on Earth and is affecting their power somehow. So that's as a clarity of like one of the things we're wondering about, like why is why does John like not have a ring yet still have powers?
Yeah.
Apparently when they destroyed his ring, like something happened and he like internalized the powers.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But they haven't quite explained it all the way yet. So it's not just us that's confused. It's like Green Lantern people as a whole. They don't know how it happened.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. No, I'm still really enjoying the series though, for sure.
Yeah, I got my books late this week because of the holiday, so I didn't get to read a whole bunch.
That's all I read this week though. I just got to the DC stuff. So
okay. Let's see. You talked about. Oh, so you didn't read JSA #7?
No, I didn't read that yet. I saved that one for last, but then I didn't get to it.
Okay. Interesting issue. Huntress is trying to get her team together, so it's like them hunting down the different parts of the team. Dr. Fate and the old Dr. Fate sidekick have a moment, and he tries to send her to this other dimension where she's from, causes a big fight. And then the ending, I don't know if I want to spoil it or not. Let's just say the ending, some people show up that's very, very interesting.
Okay.
I think all in all, like the first 6 issues or first 5 issues really of this book, I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
These past 2, for me, not so much, because I know you were really liking that Stargirl book with the sidekicks.
Yep.
That I didn't read and I just didn't really care for. And now it's really integrated into the book. And it feels like we're playing a little cleanup in these last couple issues. But if the reveal at the end is what it says to be, then I'm super excited for issue 8. So
nice. I can't wait. I gotta read it now.
Yeah, decent issue. Oh, so I started reading Batman 89, the trade.
Oh yeah, the first one. Yep.
Yeah. Fell off it. I didn't.
Oh really?
Wasn't for me. Yeah.
Okay.
I read 3 issues of it and I moved on. So I know you really like that. The next issue that's coming out next week, actually, or today is everybody's listening to this.
Yep.
And hopefully you enjoy that, but I was a little disappointed by it. I read, this book. I read Holy Roller #1. Do you remember this? The Andy Samberg, Rick Remender book.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Okay. So this I'm thinking it takes place in New York City or like Long Island or something. They don't really say specifically, but it's a city. It's a very Jewish neighborhood. The main character is the main family in this is Jewish, and the dad is like really into bowling, and he wins, and they're at the bowling alley where there's an arcade, and he wins some like tournament.
Yeah.
And then it flashes to the present, and the kid is working for Greenpeace, and like abandoned his family and doesn't want anything to do with bowling and all. Like, the book takes a long time to get to the fucking point. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm not going to read further from it, because what this book is really about, and not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just not the type of book I want right now, is that the kid comes back home and everything's become very anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
And like in a very blunt way too. Like they use some language in here that I will not repeat, but
right.
And the kid comes back home because his dad's got cancer or something, and then gets into a kerfuffle with somebody and ends up beating him with a bowling ball. Yeah. And I'm guessing that's like the birth of his superhero thing.
Oh, okay.
It did a very bland superhero origin story, and just, I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't want to read a book that's so depressing.
Yeah.
In this way, it just, not that it hits too close to home. It pushes some issues that we are having today with anti-Semitism, and just maybe shoves it in my face a little too much.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that from an Andy Samberg book. Like, you think it'd be more fun.
There's some fun moments, like when they're on the Greenpeace boat, and the lead guy's like talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, you don't really do much around here, but you're like a cool hang." And then he goes like, "Do you mind if I like, have one of these cigarettes?" And it's a fucking joint, and they're sitting there smoking, and like that was a fun back and forth, like kind of hippy dippy, like we're both high and having a good time moment. But for the most part, like it's written like a movie. It's not written like a comic, is my first complaint. And it does just kind of just shove some things a little bit too far for me personally, that hindered my enjoyment of it. I think if he pulled back on some of that and maybe focused more on the hero origin of it all, and less on the, like, he wanted to make a point about anti-Semitism, it might have got me in further. And this is an example for people writing in the future. If that stuff would have been like in issue 3 or 4, when I'm already hooked, it probably would have had more of an impact on me.
Right.
As opposed to like right at the beginning, like, so everybody knows this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, check it out if you want. I personally just thought it was a little too much.
Okay.
Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars Battleworld #1. This takes place during the original Secret Wars, and it pulls Spider-Man out for, like, as he goes to grab a snack, he gets dragged out into this other battle world where he has to fight frost giants, and it's him being forced in these alternate fights back and forth until and then we realize that other heroes are also being torn out. So like he's torn out and he's fighting, and then the Human Torch comes and he has to fight with the Human Torch. It's not a very deep book. It's not like a great book,
right?
But it's a fun book, and that's really what I'll say about it. If you're not a big Secret Wars fan, not a big Marvel fan, I don't think you're gonna like it. But I enjoyed my time with it. Daredevil Black Armor #1. Another one that I'm gonna say, if you're not a big Daredevil fan, you're not gonna run, because it takes place during a very particular time in Daredevil's history when Matt Murdock fakes his death, takes on this new alias of Jack, and is fighting crime as Daredevil, but in a different, like an armor suit that's black and red. And it's really just setting up for everybody, because we're talking about a time period of 6 issues back in the 90s.
Right.
And it's really resetting up where everything is and letting you know what the character, like where the character's at. He does interact with Kingpin because it's the Daredevil book, so we gotta have Kingpin,
of course.
And but we find out that the big bad, and this is where they got me, Mike, at the end, is Baron Strucker, who we never see anymore.
Yeah, that's not somebody you hear a lot.
Yeah, and his big plan is for Hydra to take over Hell's Kitchen. So it's like a meshing of 2 worlds. Here's the last page where he shows up. It's a meshing of 2 worlds, a character that we never see anymore. So I'm sold. Once again, if you're not huge into that world, especially Daredevil, especially that time period, I don't think you're gonna get much out of it, but I really enjoyed it. Batman Off-World #1.
Yes.
Really like this book.
Yeah.
It's very Jason Aaron how it's written. There's no, what I loved about it is there's no buildup. It starts off and we're on this spaceship in the middle of the space, and Batman just starts fighting fools.
Nice.
And we find out that he went to the spaceship because it's known for training mercenaries around the galaxy who are like the top brass. And we also find out that this takes place within like the first year of Batman's existence.
Okay.
And he has to go and figure out how he's going to defeat the top brass there. But he's out of his element. He hasn't trained to fight these people. He knows nothing about them. He's not prepared. So while he's there and he's imprisoned, he's got to find a way to train and figure his way out. And how he does it's pretty interesting. The art's really good. The story, I mean, I enjoyed the story as it was, but it's done in that Jason Aaron way where it's fairly minimal, but at the same time, like it flows really well. It's not the best Batman book I ever read, but it was a good Batman book, and I will continue it. So I'm interested to see where it goes moving forward.
Nice. I got to read it. It sounds fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a good read, and I think it'll be with some of the other Batman books coming out. Like we talked about that the one last week, the Batman, and all that, where they're going the more detective route. This is him really trying to hone his fighting skills as opposed to that. So it's a different approach.
Nice.
And then I had a manga I read, which was Dragon Quest: The Adventures of Dai #1.
Nice.
Or Volume 1, I should say. So I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan. Some people might know it as Dragon Warrior from back in the 80s.
Yep.
So anyone that knows Dragon Quest, it's like Final Fantasy, where like each one, they're kind of set in the same universe, but they're like really separate from each other. You don't have to like, there's now the 12th one's coming out soon. Doesn't include like side games. You don't have to play them all to understand the story. This is the same. It's like a different world, and it gives off very heavy Dragon Ball vibes.
Nice.
We have a young kid who has a special power, is learning to fight when a big bad shows up, and he helps defeat him.
Awesome.
If you like Dragon Ball, I think this is, and you haven't, you've watched all the show, you've read all the manga, you're looking for something new. I think it's a good thing to jump in on. The only thing that connects it to Dragon Quest is like the creature designs. You see the slimes in this.
Yeah.
You see, all the other creatures that you'd fight in the game.
Right.
But you don't really need to know much about them to understand that like they're monsters. That's what they are. Like they're cannon fodder along your journey to fight. But I really liked it. I think my only complaint about it is, so it's black and white manga like most manga, and then it will randomly in certain parts like be colored.
Oh, okay.
And then go back to black and white. And then where was it? Yeah, and then the final story, it's colored a different way.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like, I don't know, it's strange why they did it that way, but it didn't take away from my enjoyment. It was just kind of, when you hit those chapters, you're like, whoa, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. Why is it colored all of a sudden?
Yeah. But definitely a good book. And apparently there's a video game based on it now that came out last month. So
awesome.
Might be getting into that.
Cool,
Mike,
man.
That was everything I read this week. Where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter, most other social media networks. And you can find the show at FortressComics _ on Twitter, also at FortressComicNews.com. 3 great ways to support the show. 1, podcast services. Give us 5-star reviews. 2, go over to the YouTube channel, like, subscribe, share, comment down below. Also with the podcast services, if you subscribe to it, make sure you never miss an episode. And then 3rd is patreon.com/FortressComics. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening this week. See y'all here next time.